Hello, everyone. We are live. Happy Friday. Happy Juneteenth today.
Yes.
I am rocking red lips and green earrings and my bracelet on purpose. And I got my I Can't Breathe shirt on just to pay homage to our ancestors and what's currently happening. So for those of you watching for the first time, because I know some of you are just watching because I have the amazing Karonda Cook on with me today. My name is Chantel McKenzie, and I am the CEO and founder of the PowHER Network. We are a social architecture firm that brings women together to improve the livability and viability of all across their lives, period, and to connect them with themselves, their purpose, and one another. In addition to that, we do have a full in-house marketing design studio and business consulting arm of our business where we help launch, build, and grow businesses, predominantly businesses that are woman-owned. And we definitely like to work with minority-owned businesses, but we work with corporations as well. So that's a little bit about us. And I have the amazing Karonda Cook on with me today. Karonda was actually like my third guest 4 years ago when we launched the PowHER Network. She flew from Dallas here. Hey, Keisha Watson. Yo, Keisha, your bestie.
Hey.
And Karonda came to Milwaukee to join me for our PowHER brunch. And but actually we've known each other since high school, and so that's how far back we go. And I am just so proud of you and your career and who you are, because you've never changed from I remember, so I think I was a freshman or a sophomore when you were a senior, and Karonda's this tall, like supermodel-esque. Don't let her chill fool you. Like, so imagine walking in high school and you like, this is what high school girls look like. Oh no, my whole life together.
Oh my God, that's funny.
But now I have this 11-year-old with all these legs, and and then very focused on tall women. So now I can only imagine, like, and so just building her confidence and telling her how amazing it is to be all, and now it's so much easier. But yeah, just beautiful inside and out. So Karonda is, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I just said, oh, thank you.
Oh yeah. That's just the truth, girl. It's fact. So Karonda is the founder and CEO of the Jane Group, and prior to that, she was the director of merchandising for Sally Beauty. And I definitely think during your tenure there, we saw a shift in the product offerings on the shelves of Sally's. And so you have just impacted the beauty industry tremendously. You have given opportunities to introduce me to individuals. Some of my national sponsors, Julian actually was in Otto, who's now the founder of Adwoa Beauty, which is in Sephora. I met through you, and she came to Milwaukee and spoke. And so you are just, you are everything. If they got a hair product, they want to get to know Karonda. So first, I just want to talk about this leap you took a few years ago, because I know you loved your job at Sally's and love what you do, and now you're an entrepreneur. And so talk to me about that leap from corporate to now running your own firm.
Yeah, sure. So as you know, I have 3 children. So that was a big influence for me to take this leap. And I've been in this industry for over 20 years. I started in sales. And so that requires nonstop travel. I literally spent like most of their childhood on an airplane. So I missed a lot. And I lost my mom at 11. So I really, really cherish being present and in the moment. And I found myself just dedicating so much time to my job and my career. And although I loved it, I love my family much more. So fortunately, first of all, God is in my life, and I owe all of this whole journey to him. It wouldn't have been possible without him. But I have an amazing husband, an amazing support system. So, whenever you have a family and you want to step out, you have to think about the financial ramifications as well. So fortunately, I have a husband, he has a good job. So that makes it a little bit easier. But I am a woman. I have my own identity and I take pride in that. Like, I don't want to just depend on him for money. So I just prayed about it. I talked to him and I went in confidently and just said, hey, it is what it is. I have to leave my job to spend time with my family. I was prepared for my vice president to say, okay, we understand. Great working with you. Bye. But she did. She's like, let's think about this. What can I do to hire you as a consultant? And I said, wait, what? Okay, let's think about this.
Right.
And actually went into business mode, like, okay, we're going to think about it. I can make that happen. And I did all the things that I had to do from a business standpoint to set up my corporation and get it going. But I really, really feel blessed that she valued me. And I knew my worth. And just like you said earlier, I knew that I had totally transformed that category and really brought a lot of Black-owned brands to the shelf. So I knew all of that, but it's something special when the person that you work for knows your worth. So that's how that journey took place. And so my previous employer became my first client, and to this day, we're still connected and we work together. So it's truly a blessing. And again, I owe it all to God.
Yes, you definitely owe it all to God. But also, I don't want the women to miss, because I have a similar story of when I left corporate and how it was done so graciously and how graciously they were with me. When you perform while you're there and you become a value to the business, then you will be surprised, even Black women watching, how you can exit. So many of us don't exit graciously. We just, I'm done with this place and I'm leaving, and we out the door 6 months. Like, soon as we have the idea, we already start acting like we're out the door. And so to continue to work in integrity and to add value as you're doing your exit strategy is so critical. And it sounds like you did that.
Yeah, it is. And it's very critical, not only in the workplace, but in friendships, relationships. I always believe in that old saying, don't burn bridges, because you truly never know. And my whole journey is just that in reality. All of the people and all of the relationships that I cultivated while at my position at Sally, the majority of them came with me into my new journey as an entrepreneur. So again, don't burn bridges. If you are in a place in your career and you feel stagnant and you feel unhappy, just think about the blessing. First of all, the fact that you are employed. Especially now in this climate, the unemployment numbers are astronomically high. Think about your blessing. But like you said, put together a strategy and put together an exit strategy and a plan. Don't just leave willy-nilly, and don't burn bridges along the way, because you never know when you're going to need somebody.
Absolutely. Now, tell individuals what the Jane Group does. First of all, it's named after your mom, correct?
Yes. So it's named after my mom, who in those 11 years just really, really empowered me, inspired me. So I was kind of like born ready. I'm ready for this. And I'm really grateful, because this is a whole nother subject, but we know as women, our mothers are very influential in shaping us. So, her strength, her courage all came into me. So I named my company after her. But what we do is that we provide strategic solutions to retailers and brands on their distribution strategy. So retailers may need assistance navigating this whole multicultural hair space, and I'm here to help. Not only do I have experience, but I'm also...
We lost your sound. Okay, you're back. Okay.
Sorry. Oh Lord, I done had a Teddy Riley moment.
You're fine.
And then I also assist brands, existing brands that are on shelf. Just because you're on shelf, that's when the real work starts. You have to really work hard to maintain that shelf space. So I help develop strategies in that area, as well as new brands that are just coming into the market and just really getting over those entries to those barriers to entry into the retail space.
As someone who works in the capacity of a startup coach like myself, I have so many people come to me. I've created a hair care line. I created, a cosmetic line. I created, body moisturizer line. I mean, always creating products, as I'm sure, you get the same conversations. And, a lot of their dreams is, I want to be on a big box shelf. And Julian did a good job when she was here for those women in the room. It wasn't broadcast, of just explaining all of the complexities that come with that. Because to your point, that the work begins once you get there. But I want you to kind of, like Target has their incubator program. There's different ways that you can get in. And I know you used to be a buyer too. Yeah. And so first, let's start with, how do they even catch the attention of a buyer?
Yeah. Yep. So definitely incubator programs. A lot of retailers have them. Just go on their website and look. And especially now with this whole Black Power movement that I love, this is a great time, because it would behoove them to have more Black-owned brands on their shelf. But Sally has an incubator program, Target, Sephora. So just kind of do your research and look there. Another way is through what's called sales brokers. So a lot of brands are represented by brokers, because the buyers often want to see kind of one face and cover several brands at the same time. It just helps from a time perspective. So you can definitely research some brokers. I can definitely share some with you. There's one out of Memphis, Tennessee, First Choice Sales and Marketing. There's one out of Maryland, GBL Sales, both Black owned, both very powerful and very connected to the major retailers. Another is just to make yourself accessible. Make sure that you're in the room. There are a lot of big industry events that take place annually that have buyers there. So do your research and make sure that you are in attendance. One is called Cosmoprof. It's a large beauty event that takes place annually in Las Vegas, and buyers are there. So yeah, do your research and, be in the same room that the buyers are in. Sending an email and those type of things, to be honest with you, probably won't get a response.
That's good to know. And then what do you think about, the power of social media that we have now with people going direct to consumer? People hear about stories like Super Scent with her crayon case. Yeah. So what do you think about that? Because now that's everyone's dream. Oh,
yeah. Direct to consumer is definitely, I personally, if I had my own brand and I did work in retail, I would definitely go the direct to consumer route the first time for a long time before I would go to retail. Because when you go to retail, you have to have a lot of capital. I'm just going to be honest. And unfortunately, we don't have the capital or access to the capital. But you have to be able to scale up, which costs money. You have to be able to support all of these expensive programs to promote your product. So direct to consumer is definitely favorable in my eyes. If you have a strong social following, strong content, hey, that works. You can be just as successful. A lot of people get blinded by, oh, I'm in this store, I'm in that store. But please believe it's a lot of stress behind that. And just as quickly as you get there, is just as quickly that you can be removed if your stuff doesn't sell.
Absolutely. And then, my understanding is if it doesn't sell, then you have to take it back. Like, you take the loss as the manufacturer, correct?
Yep, that's correct. That's correct. So all of that sold in, you have to take back. So, and let me just rephrase this. I'm not trying to say don't go into retail, but if you do, be smart and take the marathon approach. Slow and wins the race. If you don't get into 3,000 stores at once, trust me, that might be a blessing.
I love when Julian was here, she shared about, having a really specific focus for Adwoa Beauty, and how when you were there at the launch, you spoke, and she said it to us right there in the room that was her dream and her inspiration from her packaging and everything. So when she went through the Target incubator and she talked to Penny's and she talked to Walmart, she realized, based on her price point, that she didn't want to be on the shelf next to Cantu, because if, women are choosing, why are they going to choose her $15 shampoo and her $30 oil, which I love and I purchase, but that's not every consumer's price point for hair care products. And so I love that she shared that, because so many don't go in with that forethought and, and needing to have investors, because there's a minimum amount, to your point of scaling up, there's a minimum amount of product that you have to have on hand. You have to be able to stock however many stores you end up in.
Yes, for sure, for sure. And one thing about her is obviously she's very smart, she's very
Mm-hmm.
strategic. And I can't stress enough for any entrepreneurs that are listening, you have to do your research. If
Mm-hmm.
you are at a certain price point, I'm making it up, $22.99.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. That's you, you're a premium brand.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you do, don't lower yourself. Don't devalue your brand just to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because you will be sitting next to a $6.99, $5.99 product.
Mm-hmm. 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 At what point should an entrepreneur or brand be at? I know you work with some established brands, but a new brand, at what point should they be at before they approach the Jane Group? Like, have they chosen their packaging? Have they created their formulas? I mean, where do you come in through that process?
Yeah, so it depends on the brand. So I've come in with some that are just starting.
Mm-hmm.
I will say you have to come prepared to spend. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
to afford a consultant. That's
Mm-hmm.
the other thing with us. They think, oh, well, she's a sister, so she's gonna do this for $5.
Right.
No,
Right. No.
everything goes back to knowing your worth. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely have a budget and set aside the proper amount of money for a consultant. Do research on what the average rate is. But I definitely have worked with brands from conception to shelf.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I just want, so anybody out there, I wanted to have Karonda on because my team comes in, we help launch from a perspective of, we get your website built, we get your brand polished up in a way, that it hopefully looks like a global brand, not just an urban brand. With an urban niche, if it's particularly for people of color. But by no means am I the expert like Karonda to take that brand and get it to the shelf. If you want to go direct to consumer, I can help, but I am always really honest about where my knowledge base stops. And she is the antithesis of being the knowledgeable person. So I've got 20 plus years in sales and marketing, mostly from a technology perspective and organizational development. She has worked in this industry a majority of her career. And so she has earned the right to share this information with us. Now, let's shift over. So what year is this that you went? So Karonda is hilarious. You guys have to know. We grew up on hip hop. So she always posting pictures of her and her husband talking about she out with Drake. So what year anniversary is this for you and Drake?
So big Drake. This December, we will celebrate 19 years of marriage this December. Yeah, but you know what? We met each other actually in high school. He went to Hillcrest.
Oh, okay.
And we met. I had to work a fan club at the Big Dipper game. I don't know if you remember those games.
Oh, girl, yes. We didn't miss no Big Dipper game. All the cute boys there.
I had to work. I was working a fan club event for Kendall Gill at the time for his mom. And so my cousin and I, we set up in the lobby, and then the Hillcrest team came in, and here he comes over to the table talking. He's supposed to be, warming up, but that's that. And so we started off as friends. He's always been just a fun, funny, great guy to hang out with. And then after college, our friendship just organically transformed into a love affair, if you will, and an engagement, marriage, kids, and things of that nature. But we were friends first. And I really think that that's a big part of our longevity and happiness. I already know him. I knew where he came from. And he's a good person, like at the core. Sometimes you can meet people and think one thing, and then you really get to see colors. But fortunately, he's just a good guy at the core. And in my opinion, sometimes he's too good. He's too nice. I have to step in and say, nah, we ain't doing that.
Right. Nah. Like Rosa Parks said, nah.
Right. Yeah.
So I know. So you graduated from Clark and you went to school in Atlanta. What state did he go to school in?
So he went to school. He went to school on a basketball scholarship to Northern Illinois, there. And I think it's the Cal.
Yeah. Okay. And so then you both moved home after graduation and reconnected?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So that's a funny story. So he has a best friend, and you remember in 1999, before Y2K, like everybody was buying generators, bottled water, all of that. So I was at a store buying a board game because everybody was staying in that New Year's Eve because we thought the world was going to end.
Right. We did it.
And I ran into his best friend, ironically, and he was just like, "Oh, how are you?" He took my number, gave it to Thomas, and there we go. So he always says, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be together.
Oh. And then you guys, how long have you been in Texas now?
I've been in Texas since 2011, November 2011. So what's that? Almost 9 years? 9 years? Yeah.
So I love that you shared, you feel like your friendship has really been the catalyst for your longevity, but you also mentioned at the beginning of our conversation how much you traveled. And I had a similar travel schedule. I was on a plane at least 4 days a week. And then it sounds like that, he has a busy career as well. How have you guys managed to work that with your 3 beautiful girls and stay connected with one another?
Yeah. So, again, fortunately, he understood, my travel demands. And so he did what was necessary to pick the kids up from school. He can cook. So he put together a meal. He was really a team player, if you will. If you think of a team, that's what we were, just a team player. And we balanced it out. We really were committed to raising our children. We really didn't want to have a nanny or the grandma constantly raising the kids. Sometimes the parents are just completely absent. We were intentional in that we wanted to raise our children. We definitely had help, for sure. But yeah, it was just all about teamwork. That's all I can say. And at some point in his career, he had a shift where he had to work at DC, outside of DC, for like 6 months. And so I was a single mom with 3 little ones, but it was okay. I held it down. So it was just all about teamwork. And I will say confidence. It takes a confident man to support his woman and to be there as a team player and understand that she's in and out of airports and business meetings and not cause all that extra drama that often stems from insecurity.
Right. And to give the kids that sense of comfort. I applaud my husband also that, mom is working for us and for our family, and to make sure that I didn't feel excluded or like, so when I came home, I was home. Also, kids are resilient. They get used to the routine, and so they, where are you going this week? And so a lot of individuals get, scared to take production-based careers. And I'm not saying it is not for everyone. Being on the road, you and I both did it. I did it a long time. You did it a long time. It is not for the faint of heart. No. It gets old. You only can see so many fancy hotels and restaurants and dinners and cars before you feel. I'm at a point, and you're both at a point, that we both made a decision. Like, I'm ready to come home, and I figured some other things out. And I think that just comes with age, and the excitement wears off. Yes,
exactly. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
So now your oldest daughter is leaving for college.
Yes. And I can't believe that I have a college student, and I really just don't know who's going to raise these other 2 kids.
Girl, that's how I felt when Michael left. I was like, who gonna drive them around? I'm like, who gonna play with them when I don't want to play? Like,
who's gonna do this new math?
Right.
I don't. Yeah. So but yeah, I'm excited. She's growing up, and I'm so proud of her. But going off to college. My first one, and my second one is going into high school. Third is going into middle school. So
so you have so when Michael left for college, Nick went into high school, and now Nicholas, my second, is leaving for college. And he's gone this week, because of course my boys are from my previous marriage. And so he's at his dad's house this week because his dad's on vacation to take care of his dad's dog. And I was looking at, and then Wes, my husband, got hurt. And so I'm looking at the garbage pile up and some other things. And I was like, what we gonna do, Jesus? Like, who gonna take this? So look, I'm like, who gonna take all this garbage out? And yeah, so it is an adjustment. So I'm like training up the girls now, the little ones, like, oh, y'all gotta, we gonna have to figure something out.
Right. And then well, you can speak to this. I don't have sons, but girls to me just seem to be more independent. Like they'll do it themselves. They don't require as much instruction or hand holding. I knew what he was doing when he gave me all girls.
Look, and you know what? And as one who has 2 boys and 2 girls, they are independent, but boys are, to your point, they're you give them instructions, they execute it. Girls, it's like, but I want to do it my way, and why I got, you got to do a lot of explaining with the girls, and they always want my stuff, like, oh, mama, that's, like, do those shoes fit me? Does that shirt fit me? Don't you have your own clothes? Like, I'm just trying to understand what happened. So I'll be leaning in on you with that, because my 7-year-old is into, can I do your face? Can you dress me like you for the day? No, I can't, because you're 7. No, we can't do that. And so it's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
And so now, someone said my daughter is much more independent. Her son stays in her face. Yes, I will say that too. The girl, I don't know about your girls, Karonda, but my girls are daddy's girls.
Oh yeah, I think girls are just born daddy's girls, but you know what? I love it, because when you think long term, and as you meet friends, as you grow up, you see these women with daddy issues. So I'm like, if you want to be a daddy's girl, please, love it, do it. My girls, they're both, but they're daddy girls. Like, if we're out, did daddy eat? Well, let's call it. You want something? And they might go out and they come back, and I'm like, nobody called and said to see if I want to eat.
Yeah. So now let's shift now, because now you have your own firm, but even during your tenure at Sally's, you led a team. And so I always on these calls like to talk about like your leadership philosophy and what advice do you have. So when you first walked into Sally's, what was your initial position? I don't think I know that.
Yeah, so I walked in as director of merchandising. So that was my first. I was on the other side of the table as a sales manager. So I went to the other side as a director. So that was my first time being on the buying side of the table. And I went in as a member of senior leadership. So I did not have any time to train the doggy paddle. I was swimming in the 12 feet, doing tricks and diving off the diving board.
What do you think happened in that interview that they said she's the one that they would trust you to come in at such a high level?
Yeah. So, it was a couple of things. So some people from the industry knew the hiring manager, and I think she reached out and just said, hey, can you recommend someone? So that was a lot of it too, just the industry chatter. And then I think at the end of the day, I am the consumer. So I'm the subject matter expert, and I've also been on the other side of the table, so I can bring a new approach to the category, a more collaborative approach between the brands and the retailer.
That's excellent. And so then you come in, you're new leader, you got, new people looking to you to set strategy and to expand this market and do something different.
Yep.
Where do you start? Where do you start?
I was excited because I was familiar with Sally. I worked at the beauty salon through high school. Sally trips, I've been doing that since a kid. But I was excited to change the category, but the team dynamic, I had to do some. First of all, I was the only person of color in senior leadership, the youngest. So, and then I came with an established team already that was used to their previous manager. So I had to do some cleaning up, if you will. And my philosophy around that is that I never would want anybody to lose their job. So I would work to creatively get them placed on another category somewhere else. So I did that. And then I hired in new people, my own team. And we immediately went to work and just started bringing in some of the brands that you guys know and love to the shelf. But I did have to do that due diligence first to just kind of get rid of the old team. You know, there's somebody that's always negative, and then that just creates a whole cancer throughout the team. So, and that's not my personality. So I'm like, oh no, you got to go. I don't want you to get fired. You can go somewhere else in this company, but not on this team. So definitely had to clean house. And then from there, again, because I've been in the industry so long and I came from the sales side, I knew just about everybody who managed those brands. So I, reached out to my contacts and said, hey, I'm over at Sally. You want some distribution? Let's talk. Let's set up a meeting.
You just touched on two very important things: sponsorship and industry chatter. Meaning, you know, I always tell people, especially in the market that I'm in, that this is a market of reputation and referral.
Yes.
And that a lot of markets are like that. And that, you know, I'm shocked sometimes the calls and contracts that I get that I'm like, how did you even know I do this? Like, that's not on my website kind of thing, but it's really about reputation and referral. And that's what we think it's cliches when we see the memes that say your name's being mentioned in rooms you haven't even stepped foot in. But if you're working in excellence, then that really is happening.
Yes.
And then also, I love this whole assessment of the team and, you know, being gracious to understand that just because they are not a fit for your team did not necessarily mean they weren't a fit for the company. But as the leader, being willing to make those tough decisions or tough calls and go above and beyond to say, hey, you know, maybe we can move you over here to another category because this is not your space.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, again, I would never want someone to lose their job. And, you know, they were good at what they did. They just weren't good for me and what I was trying to do.
Now, for someone watching who's not familiar with what a director of merchandising does, just explain a little bit about what that means. What did that entail for you?
Yeah, so it entails everything from product decisions, deciding what brands to bring to put on shelf. It involves what brands to take off of the shelf. It involves managing budgets. It involves marketing programs, just about everything. You name it. It's not, you know, a lot of people think, oh, it's you know, all she has to do is just meet with brands and put the products on the shelf. But there's a lot of behind the scenes that takes with that, a lot of spreadsheets, number crunching, a lot that goes into that.
But yeah, that's good for people to know. And then if there's a young professional watching that's like, man, that sounds like the perfect job for me, what do you recommend they do? Like if they're in college or fresh out of college, where would they start?
Yeah, so, you know, I'm always a fan, especially if they're in college, I'm always a fan of starting on the ground. So if there's a particular retailer that you love, maybe inquire about working in the store, you know, start in the store, you know, everything starts there. So get a part-time job in the store and then look on their website and do an internship. But yeah, definitely starting in the store is ideal because that's where a lot of the decisions are made.
You're the second person to say that. Last week I had Karonda. She's the vice president of strategic partnerships for the Milwaukee Bucks. And she said that's out of college. She started in ticket sales on the phone. And now, you know, she's their vice president of strategic partnerships. And so, yeah, I started at AT&T. I worked there for 17 years. I started in sales in the call center. And when I got into management, I would be like, everybody should have started in the call center because understanding the basics of a business is so critical. If you don't understand the consumer experience and you're just behind the ivory tower, it's really hard to put yourself in their space.
Yes. So I definitely would recommend starting in the store and then looking on their website and getting an internship.
You mentioned you mentioned a little while ago about losing your mom at 11, but how during those short 11 years she empowered you so much. And one of the things that I admire about you, and as we're getting older in age, I mean, you lost your mom so young, but now we have friends losing parents all of the time, and you just have always kept this. I'm sure you know you've had your private times and your quiet times on your own that, you know, I didn't see, I wasn't privy to, but you have just always, you know, held that relationship in high regard and used it, I see, as momentum to push you forward. And so for someone watching who may feel stuck because mom's not here. And I had Jackie Nickelberry on last week, who lost her mom her senior year of college, and how, you know, that really motivated her to graduate magna cum laude and Phi Beta Kappa from Spelman and go on and pick the right husband and all the things she felt like her mom would have wanted her to do.
Right.
What do you say to that woman who's feeling stuck right now because of the loss of a parent?
Yeah. So, and a lot of this just depends on the person. We know this. Some people are just more predisposed to being sad and staying in that space. But I will say, think about your mom or your dad or whoever you lost, and think about what they would want you to do. You know, they would want you to continue to live life. They would want you to be happy. So think about that and just live life. Life is short. You know, that's what this whole lesson, her passing so young, that's taught me that life is short and I can't be stuck. I can't. So it motivates me, because me being stuck is not going to bring her back. You know, being stuck is not going to make me a better mom, a better wife, a better businesswoman. Just like you said, it's just pushing me to do better. I always just think about the blessing of the fact that I'm alive, I'm here. What can I do to continue her legacy? What can I do to continue to make her proud and to make myself proud as well? But it's very difficult. I think it really just depends on the type of person you are. You know, some people are just predisposed to go in a dark space and stay there. Whereas for me, I'm not. I mean, this whole quarantine, you know, early on, I didn't wait. So, but I didn't just stay there stuck. I'm like, okay, I got to do something about this. That's just my personality. I'm more of a, glass half full, get over it, still alive, right? Okay. As long as you're still alive, there's hope. Morning, there's hope. But you cannot remain in that dark space, especially if you have children, because they see that and then they can perpetuate that, and then they can go into a dark place. So as long as you have breath in your lungs, there's hope. Right. That's just my perspective in life.
Everything that Karonda said, I echo and agree with. But if for some reason someone's watching and you cannot find that within yourself, please call a therapist and let someone help you get through that. Because to your point of how you started, everyone doesn't have that innately in them. And so it's okay to have help. It's okay to seek professional help. Someone asked, and we covered this at the beginning, but she just tuned in. She said, can you talk about what made you leave corporate and start your own agencies? And so I know you glanced over it, you know, with, you know, having traveled so long and being with the kids, but if you just want to, you know, dive into that for that person, I think that would be great.
Yeah, sure. Is her name Corey?
Corey Joe.
Yeah. Hi, Corey. So my inspiration was my children. I spent the bulk of their childhood on an airplane, just in and out of the sky. And then when we moved to Texas, my career forced me to be there more than 8 hours a day. And I just was really losing precious moments with my children. And then I knew my worth. You know, in my position, I was cultivating relationships. I really was making a change, making an impact, and making a change that was much needed. So I felt confident that if I step out, and my VP validated that when she offered me to be a consultant, but if I step out on faith, I know I'm going to land on my feet and be planted and rooted. And that's exactly what I did.
That's good. And then Corey Joe, my answer is that I had some health challenges prior to me deciding to take the leap. And my job was phenomenal about it, because it was a tumor in my chest. It wasn't anything that I, you know, could have controlled. And during that time off, it really gave me time to think about what was important. And, you know, having to recover in the way I did, and having, what could have been, you know, an experience that ended my life, made me realize that I wanted to leave a legacy. It made me think about, what do I want people to say about me when I leave? And and the PowHER Network was birthed. And so it was like, initially it was like, I had to have the conversation with my husband, and similar to Karonda, I have a husband with a corporate job with benefits. I always remind women of that.
Yes.
Like, don't be out here leaping with no health insurance and y'all got kids now.
Right. You have a well thought out exit strategy.
Right, exactly. Or, or at least shop the market and see what they got out here with some Obamacare. But
Right.
just, you have to have a strategic plan before doing it. And so I got grounded during recovery. So I wasn't able to get on a plane, and that was very much part of my life. And the point of grounding me was until I fully healed, but I'm a go kind of person. And I was like, while I'm sitting here grounded doing entry level work for the same pay that I was making at the top, because of course legally that's what they had to do. And my husband's like, "Are you crazy? All you do is answer the phone." I'm like, "I can't do it, homie. My mind has to be stimulated. My intellectual prowess is too much." And so I started working the dream and the job until the dream could afford to be the job, and I took the leap. And I realized that people in our community did not have a me that they can turn to. And these large corporations had invested millions upon millions of dollars into training me. And I had experiences that other people didn't have, especially in the city of Milwaukee, where I am, that I could do something to improve the community in which I live and beyond. And so that really is where it went for me. And so that was it. And then, of course, the benefits are to have the time with the kids. I had a mother who worked similar to how Karonda and I worked. So, and a dad in the military who would be gone 6 months at a time. So I didn't feel it odd to be gone as much, because I felt like, well, I turned out okay. It was fine,
Right.
And so, and my husband and his mom, and so that was the norm for me. And so it was the norm for me to have parents working and gone. So I didn't think how I was working was the norm anyway. And what I've realized, and COVID helped realize that too, is being home with my husband and my children and us being in the house all the time. That made me realize how much I had missed, and all these little quirky laughs and jokes and things and bonding. And so I'm so thankful for that reset, because it definitely shifted my priorities. And now I don't think that I would ever want to be gone from them like that ever again, even though it was their norm too. So they didn't feel like I was an absentee parent by any means. But definitely just getting to wake them up and put them in bed and be, and cook and do crafts and be funny, and not just be like a weekend warrior mom or a vacation mom. It definitely feels good. So thanks for asking that question.
Yeah.
So now, do you find yourself with, I know you have the blessing of starting your company with a client, but are there moments that you get scared or feel like, was this the right decision?
You know what? And you touched on this earlier about your reputation. I have not come to that point just yet.
Okay.
I've just been blessed where people will call me because they were in a meeting and somebody mentioned my name and said, you have to call her. So that's just kind of been the nature of my business over the years. And I'm just so blessed. And initially it was just me, and I was taking on and doing all of this myself. But I have partnered up. I branched out. I have a team that I work with, a young lady here in Dallas who has worked in the industry. She's a super smart girl. And I have another team of girls in Atlanta that I work with as well. So that's really been a blessing. And I've learned a lot. I've learned to delegate, like to trust, let it go, and that's just really been helpful.
Right. I agree. I had to learn to do the same thing, and to find some really talented young people that were open to my experience and were excited to learn from someone with my experience, because definitely delegation is so key. If you can do it alone, your dream's not big enough. However, when it's your brand, you still want the finished product to look like, I did that.
Yeah, I'm type A personality, but I'm like AB. I'm not the top type A.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes when women are over the top type A,
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
overthink everything. They don't let
Mm-hmm.
go and
Mm-hmm.
ultimately block their blessings.
Right, right. And I try to let creatives be creative. Sometimes I'll have to step in, but with the team, especially a lot of them are new college grads and things like that. Let me see your take on this. Like if we're doing a logo or if we're doing a website or, of course I come in with the copy and the creative strategy, but like, let me see your take on this. And they know they can tell me like, I feel stuck. I don't feel inspired by this. I need your creative brain to come in and be a thought partner with me. And that's great. To me, that's when we produce our best work. But I really, and one of the other funny things, and I don't know if you have this as a consultant, when people call me and they and chase you down, like they call you, they heard of, but then then I have to remind them, like, you called me to consult, not admin, not execute. What you thought was the best thing. How was that working for you?
Same thing. And another thing with this whole piece is, and I keep saying this is like the theme of this call, is knowing your worth. And I think that Black women are so undervalued in so many aspects of their life that it becomes a norm in their brain. So when it comes to creating contracts and statement of work, they kind of undervalue themselves. And I will admit, when I first started this journey, I was a victim of that. But then I had to look in the mirror and have like my Issa Rae insecure moment, and it was like, no, you can demand this price and they're gonna pay it. And then I was like, let me try it. And I was like, oh, they doing
and
that.
then when they say yes too fast, you're like, I should have said more. I
know. Exactly. Yep.
I agree because when I meet my white colleagues that are running similar firms, when they talk to me about the contracts that they get and the proposals they put out, I'm like, wait, what? Like kind of thing, like, oh no, I am completely, and I try to say, and I think also there, I mean, there's a heart for women on the inside of me. I view my business, of course, as my business because it's the way I support my family, but also as my ministry. And I am getting better about it. I can't help you for free. I mean, if you're a mentee, I got you, but my mentees know who they are. Don't send me a bunch of inboxes that I can't. I'm sorry. My husband got hit on his bicycle. Jesus, I can't take nothing else right now. However, I will say that I was a victim of that also, and price setting and knowing your worth is so. And what I always say as a starting point is like, if you can't afford to pay yourself at least what you were making in the marketplace,
that part,
right? Then why aren't you still in the marketplace? Why aren't you still at that job? At the point that I'm not making as much money as I made when I left corporate. Why did I leave corporate? I had PTO, I had 401k, I had all this stuff. Now, we going on vacation. I gotta take my laptop. It's no PTO when it's yours.
That's so true. And you know what? You just mentioned something when you were just talking about the whole mentee thing and saying no. And that's another thing that I really learned, and I'm so proud of myself, is just really saying no and being firm and setting boundaries. Because I did, have received some requests for just crazy random things. But again, without burning the bridge, I'll really bow out and maybe refer them to someone else. But just in life in general, for me, I'm just so happy that I'm at the point where I'm like, no, and I'm good. I'm not sleep at night over it.
My thing is, this is mine, because I'm to your point, I never want to hurt anyone's feelings, and I'm honored, when the person reaches out to me for help. So, but typically they need coaching, and I coach for a living. And so it sounds like you need a strategic planning session, or it sounds like you need, coaching. Something else one of my mentors said to me that really changed the game for me, and I don't know if it's been 2 years since he said this to me or what, but he said to me, because people will be trying to barter and this and that, and well, I do hair, girl, I do your hair every week, I sell clothes, I do, kind of thing, and you're like, well, I do get my hair done every week.
No, it don't work like that.
Right. And he said to me, if they can't afford you, they can't afford you. And to the point of what you said at the beginning, what I've learned, even if a client doesn't work out, because I will fire a client graciously, but I will fire a client because I'm just not a match for everyone, and refer them to another consultant. Our spouse just may not mesh, and that's okay. And because about that knowing your worth, I know I do good work. And so if our styles just don't mesh, or if I'm just not the consultant for you, then I am happy to have that conversation to just say, you know, it seems like we're just not getting where you would like to be, and I want you to be successful. But my mentor said to me, if they can't afford you, they can't afford you.
Yeah.
And when he said that to me, and what you will find, and I'm sure you'll echo this, is the ones who want to pay the least usually want the most.
All the time.
Right.
All the time.
Right.
Yes.
I have clients, you know, my corporate clients and the ones that write the larger checks that really pay the bills, they are the least
needy.
Yes. Exactly.
Yep.
But the little ones that, you know, you feel like I'm gonna hook you up. So you got something. They don't respect. You know, I be feeling like Big Red. My office hours are, you know, I got to do a 5 heartbeat quote. My office hours are, I had a client that we felt, just because she never would schedule a meeting, never would accept a meeting schedule, but if she called randomly on a Sunday night, and again, that goes back to respecting my family and my household and my personal space and those boundaries you mentioned. Entrepreneurs out there watching, and even ladies in corporate, you have to set boundaries for yourself and stick to them. You are important.
Yes. So true. So true.
Yeah. Because people will work you to death and then be at your funeral saying, "Oh, she was great. We gonna miss her."
Exactly. That is so true. Yes, that's so true. Set your boundaries at work and personal friendships, family. It's just so important to protect your personal space.
The other thing that I found too is it's okay when clients leave. If the contract runs out and the obligation, because when you do good work and you know your worth, they come back.
Oh yeah. Yep. Or they're one, you know.
Exactly. And so I think, you know, the resounding theme through this conversation, if anybody's watching, and hopefully, you know, you guys have learned some things, because Karonda is just a wealth of knowledge, is about faith, confidence, relationship, sponsorship, knowing your worth, having the confidence to charge it.
Yes.
Like this is it, like sit down, to her point, scope of work, contracts, quotes, handle your business like you handled other people's business when you worked for them.
Yeah.
I think that is the piece too that's critical. Talk to that for a second. We got a couple minutes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. I answer every phone call, every email. I try to do it within a 24-hour time frame, just like you said, as if I was working for a major corporation. So yeah, I definitely, you can't get relaxed. You can't think, oh, this is my stuff, I respond when I want to. No, you have to always operate professionally, because again, this is another theme throughout this whole discussion, is you don't want to burn bridges. Your reputation is so important. So yeah, if my phone is going off at 6 a.m, or just like last night, I was back and forth with a client, 9:30, 9:45 at night. I can't say, oh, I'm tired, I'm not going to do that. You can't be tired. You cannot get tired. And I will say, being an entrepreneur, you will be tired. It will be difficult. It is a lot of work. And oftentimes you'll find yourself working harder than you did when you were at corporate America.
Absolutely, you do.
Yeah, but you have to put on your big girl shoes and get ready for that. And I also had to have a hard conversation with my kids, because you know, they were like, well, you always on the call. Why can't, you know, and trying to guilt you, you know, because work-life balance is difficult, whether you're in corporate America or an entrepreneur. But I just keep it real with my kids. And I'm like, you know, those shoes that you just got, you know, that just rang from Amazon for the 5th time. Then get out my face and let me have this call.
Right. Absolutely. Because they know at noon it shuts down in this house.
Yeah.
They be like, oh, mama's having her live. Like, I dare you. You better. I dare you.
In order to afford all the things you want, I have to be on my calls.
Right. Exactly. And so that moms take that too. Like, have the bring them into have the family meeting and have the conversation. I mentioned this on another call last week because they may complain at first, family, friends, etc. But once the success comes, all the individuals that, I used to be in Chicago. You would have thought I still lived there. I would be home so much because it's just, so close. But when I launched the PowHER Network, well, first of all, I always had the Chicago market in whatever company I worked in, and I did that on purpose so I could be there for work. But once the PowHER Network launched, I had my head down and I was so busy focused on building this brand that I was missing family reunions. I was, and it was about, I was trying to get somewhere and I had to get the engine started. And a lot of people, even family, took it personally that I wasn't there, versus just understanding that there had been a shift in my life. And temporarily, I needed to handle some things. And as the dust is settled, some relationships have gone right back how they were. Some will never be the same.
Well, and those are the ones that weren't genuine in the first place.
So we've got 4 minutes. How can they follow you, get in touch with the Jane Group? I know you're private personally, but like from a professional standpoint, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, so my website is www.thejanegroup.com. I'm on Instagram, thejanegroup_CO. You can reach out to me there. And all of the email information is provided there. Or you can email me. I'll give you my email. It's kcook@thejanegroup.llc.com. So if you're an aspiring entrepreneur, if you have a brand and you're already on .com and doing pretty good from an e-commerce standpoint, and you think you're ready to take the next step, please reach out. I don't have a problem with having initial conversations or consultations, but yeah, please reach out.
I was going to say that also, don't just box her in with the Jane Group. I've seen it for myself. Karonda is a phenomenal keynote speaker, a phenomenal executive coach and corporate facilitator. And so if your company, organization, brand needs someone to come in and talk strategic planning, talk about leadership, to be inspired, especially right now, people are looking for experienced women of color to come in and keynote different places. And she knows that I'm a huge advocate of that. I'm always trying to get her, I'm pitching her to clients left and right because I just believe in the magic that is Karonda Cook. So feel free to email because she does travel and speak and at some very major conferences. And I'm just so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
You know what, Chantel, I just want to say this too before time runs out. Thank you so much. I am so proud of you. Thank you for all of those kind words. But most importantly, thank you for being you. You're a beautiful spirit inside and out. So your success and your journey with the PowHER Network is absolutely no surprise to me. When you come into a room, the way that you command the room with your voice and with your presence is just so inspiring. And so I really admire you. And again, I'm so proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing. And I just can't wait because I know I'm going to turn on my TV and I'm going to see you sitting right next to Oprah having a discussion.
Well, you know what? And then look, at the day that happened, if I'm sitting under the trees at the promised land, as she called it, I get the technology for that house when I worked at AT&T. So it would feel like life came full circle. Right. That I will remember and be like, can my network come? Because I'm so thankful that, I can text and call women like you. People ask me all the time, like, where are you getting all these women from on your lives? I'm like, these my women. This is my network. This is the power of the network. That's why I'm always asking, does your network have power? And this is the power of social media. Social media reconnected me with so many of my childhood friends. And I did not take that for granted. And LinkedIn, and I did not take that for granted. And we support one another, not just professionally, but personally. When we see one another going through things, we text, we stay in touch. So show up. Networking is about building relationships. What Karonda's career has been built on is her phenomenal ability to build relationships and to make an impact. And so do that in every room you show up in.
Yes, for sure. For sure. Yep.
Well, we are out of time. Thank you so much. It went so fast. I can't
Yes,
wait to either come to Texas to see you or Chicago or get you here, or maybe we got to meet up on an island or something. Keisha, still watching. I want to hang with you and Keisha and Holly and Rachel. Karonda has like the coolest crew of friends, and and Diana and I love all those ladies, and so thank you all for your support.
Yes,
you have a great time. Yes. All right. Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend. Happy Juneteenth. Bye-bye.
Bye.